Have you guys wondering what we've been up to for our homeschooling? Well, stay tuned. Hi everyone, welcome back to Precious Years. If you're new here, welcome. I am a homeschooling mommy of two girls, age 6 and 7, and in this channel I share anything and everything relating to homeschooling, mommy lifestyle. It feels like I haven't had a chance to talk to you guys in like the longest time, but I just wanted to share with you guys and just have like a little chit chat and just talk to you guys about our homeschooling, how everything is going, what we've been up to. This year I wanted to be more intentional with our homeschooling. So first of all, I wanted to start homeschooling the week after Labor Day weekend, because growing up, we always went back to school after Labor Day. But now I think it's just getting pushed sooner and sooner, and then I didn't want to mimic public school system because I homeschool, and I wanted to have that fall, going back to school in the fall type of a feeling. So we wanted to start school the week after Labor Day. However, we live in Florida, so Hurricane Irma made her presence, and so we had to evacuate, and so that kind of threw us in a loop. By the time I got back, I had put away, like any homeschool mom would do. I didn't care about my furniture and other stuff, but I wanted all my books high up on the top shelves and all of that to make sure nothing happened to that in case there was flooding. But what happened is that when we got back, after, I think we were there for like about 5 days, and then when we got back and then we kind of cleaned up everything because we left in a rush, it was like a 2-week long thing of like preparing the house for it, and then preparing ourselves to stay in the house, then deciding last minute not to stay, and it was just I came back to a messy house. Like getting everything back to normal and routine and all of that. So what happened is that I was sitting with my daughter on that Friday or Saturday, I think it was Friday or Saturday, and I was talking to her and I was like, hey, can we, use next week to kind of get our feet wet into homeschooling, but really start the following week. But she was like, no, mommy, summer feels like forever, and I just want to start. And I was like, and I felt so bad, because as many of you probably by now know, I've been working on Homeschool Panda, and so that had taken away a lot of time from our homeschooling, the way we were homeschooling when they were little and then into first grade. So last year my focus had shifted because I was trying to juggle between being a mom, being a working mom, as well as kind of homeschooling, but I'll get to that later. But basically what happened is she's like, oh, we want to start school, I want to start school, seems like summer has been forever, I feel like I'm going to fall behind. And then I felt bad, right? I'm like, oh, I'm a horrible homeschool mom. And so I got our stuff together. I made sure our homeschool room was nice, and I had these ideas of peg dolls and seasonal math gnomes and all of that, and some of that got added onto our homeschool day. And so we just I just wanted to make sure that I didn't want to let her down or let her enthusiasm down, because she's excited, and that's what I would want, right, as a homeschool mom, for her to be excited. So we started homeschooling, and I think we started on the 18th of September. Top onto that was I had a visitor that Monday that I didn't know until like Monday morning that we would have a visitor that Monday that we started school. So we kind of so it just wasn't like how I normally start with, grand breakfast and all of that. We didn't have a lot of that. I just kind of pulled everything together. But the girls had a great time. We started off with poetry tea time with our morning basket. We had scones, we had tea, and they loved it. And sometimes with media, social media, and all of that pressure that gets put on us, we want to have this perfect perfect breakfast, perfect start, but you don't have to have it perfect to have a great day. You just need to be present. So that's how our first day went, and I'm so glad that we went with Bookshark because the way Bookshark has their lesson plan laid out, it was really easy for me to kind of just pick back up. And then I had already loaded up all of Bookshark into Homeschool Panda, so it was kind of just easy to shift. I had already loaded up, and all I had to do is kind of shift it around, and it was really easy. Previous years, I've tried a whole bunch of ways to teach my girls. I tried the traditional way, I tried the play, I did a lot of Montessori, and the Montessori had a lot of success, but once we kind of got out of that phase of learning and we were above that, the child-led, all of that, I went focused more towards the traditional and then a little bit in the classical, and then, I was toying around with the idea of Charlotte Mason, and then obviously, I am an avid viewer and of Hannah at Pepper and Pine, and so her videos have really inspired me, and a lot of her videos and some of the ones that have really inspired me, I will link them below for you, have really kind of spoke to my heart. I wasn't aware of the philosophy behind Waldorf, but once I got to learn more about it and read more about it, I just fell in love with that idea. And when I spoke to my daughters, they were very excited. Now, my little one is not really too much into education. She's more into play. So to her, learning time, if I call it school, learning time, whatever it is, she's never gonna be as enthusiastic about it, or she wasn't. And but my oldest, who loves to learn, she was really excited about it. So Hannah's videos really gave me an idea of what was lacking, or what we felt like lacking in our homeschool. That's kind of like a rhythm. I never grew up with this is becoming a very chatty video, and I'm so sorry, but I'm just pouring my heart out to you guys. I'm just kind of like making sense to how my head is going, like how it all went, and just trying to kind of put like several months into one video, which is hard. So please bear with me. But basically, I never grew up with a schedule. My parents never had like a really routine for us. They weren't routine-oriented people, so they didn't have it for us. When I started homeschooling, I realized I needed a routine to balance everything that I had going on. I needed a schedule, and I needed to stick to my schedule and make sure, my kids went to bed at the same time, and, they ate around the same time, because that just made my life simpler. So we were kind of working on a schedule based. Then when last year I started working on Homeschool Panda more and more, it took away from our schedule, and I was more in a mindset, because my oldest she was registered with the district, so she had to be evaluated, and so I just wanted to get her portfolio set, making sure she just finished her math, she finished her reading, writing, history, and all of that. I just wanted it checked off. But what that did is that took away kind of like the joy of learning. So all over, all throughout from last spring, because that's really when I had to go full force, because I wanted to launch Homeschool Panda in May at FPA, so I had to go full force into working. It was hard for me to balance being a homeschool mom as well as being a working mom. It took away from our schedule, and it took away the joy, kind of the fun in learning. So they were kind of like, this feels like school at home. And throughout the summer, I still worked on Homeschool Panda, because there were updates and there were fixes, and it's a whole thing when you have apps and websites and they need to work together. And I was so committed to what I wanted to get done. that I still spent a lot of time on that. And so my kids were kind of, even though they loved the idea of Homeschool Panda, they were part of the reason of Homeschool Panda. They came up with the name, and they have more vision for Homeschool Panda to grow into something that they want to be part of. It made them kind of resent Homeschool Panda a little bit, and I didn't want that, because this is supposed to be something that, you know, down the line I want to share with them, because they're part of it. They're the reasons why I created Homeschool Panda. So I didn't want to, you know, I didn't want them to have resentment. So I went back and I started thinking about what I want to do. You know, I was thinking about Charlotte Mason inspired, because, you know, I had already committed to Bookshark to review their curriculum for them. Of course, there would be honest review, but I made a commitment to them, and I wanted to keep that commitment. And but I went back and I thought about it, and whatever time I had, I watched Hannah's videos, and the, you know, the core ones where she talks about the Waldorf, the family, the rhythm, and that spoke to my heart. And that's what I said, I don't need a schedule, I need a rhythm in my life. I need our family to run in a rhythm, so that, you know, that the time I need to give them, I am there. The time they need for themselves, doing something with their hands, then that's the time I can work. So I realized that we needed this rhythm that we didn't have. They lacked my presence even though I was there, because I was doing school with them. But if I could turn that school into something they feel like they're close to me, then I realized that that might kind of balance it all together. So that has led me to kind of, and I don't want to say I am Waldorf at all, because our home is not Waldorf, our learning is not Waldorf, but it's inspired by that. It's inspired by the values, and I do understand the developmental stages and how everything should be introduced in a certain kind of manner. And I wish I could go back, and I wish I could, you know, take back and kind of restart this whole thing from there when they were, you know, 4 and 5, but obviously can't. So we're doing the best that we can, and I have figured out a way to make Bookshark work into this whole thing. So we do a lot of games for our math. We do a lot of movement. We do a lot of verses. We create peg dolls, and, you know, we bake a lot together, and that's part of our school day, school time. Go for walks, and I love the idea of in-breath and out-breath, and Hannah has a video on that explains it in detail. But that really helps the shifting of, you know, doing something in-breath, out-breath, and just the shifting in general. Not only was it helping my girls, but it was helping me. It was giving me a chance, you know, when after breakfast we go for a little bit of walk around our neighborhood. We come back, and then we do a little circle time. Then we get right on to our main lesson. And they love that we're focusing on one thing and one subject that incorporates writing, that incorporates reading, that incorporates, you know, their art, and they're really enjoying it. And from everything that we've been learning, so we've started with the main lesson block. I said that we would have one main lesson block, and that is they wanted to do weather and seasons, so that's what we did. And I was able to take Bookshark's weather chunk out, even though it was in the latter part of the schedule. I pulled that out, and that's what we're focusing on. And I didn't really have to get anything extra, but I'm substituting some art, and I'm taking their activity sheets, and and I want to go in that in detail and show you guys how we're kind of trying to do that with Bookshark. So our home has been a lot happier home, and because my girls are happy, even when they're, we've started knitting, and we've started sewing, and all of those projects, and then the modeling with clay, and beeswax and all of that, they're doing that near me. And even if I am answering a question from a user on Homeschool Panda, or I'm working on something else, most of the the detailed stuff where I need to obviously focus on it, I do either earlier in the part of the morning or at night. But for the most of the time, I'm present with them, even if though I'm doing something else. And because they're kind of moving from, they're not just sitting there and doing worksheets after worksheets. Now, it works for some families, and it obviously works for many kids. But for our family, that whole introducing that art, being able to move, the movements have really helped us a lot. And to even my little one, she loves the learning time as well. We paint with watercolor. We, do block crayon art. We do, a lot of different things to make it more fun. And that's what we've been doing, and that's what's going on in our homeschool. If you follow us on Instagram, you probably know, because I try a lot to, keep Instagram up to date, because I haven't been able to as much as I wanted to, but my intention is really to make more videos and make more awareness of how we do things. Not everyone does things. Hannah does things in a more elaborate and more Waldorf, true to the, the Waldorf philosophy. I do something that kind of works for me. And I take what I like from Charlotte Mason, I take what I like from Rudolf Steiner, and I kind of put it together and to make it work for our family and our phase in life right now. So that's what's kind of been going on with us in our homeschool. And let's see. So as far as the reading wise, we've read Sales to Capri, and we love this book. And the girls were so excited, and they were like really drawn to the book. And if you saw my Instagram, then you know how much we love it, because we've shared a lot. And then the readers are good. My daughter is moving on to the Children of Noisy Village, and then we're reading now. We just started Sticks Across the Chimney, and we'll be reading that. So far we're loving Book Shark's curriculum. We're loving Book Shark's science as well. I love how short it is. I love how the questions are helping us answer and draw out, and kind of, basically I take the questions that are on the activity sheets, I ask my girls, and then they give me the answer, and most of the time I write it down as they say it to me. And then they go back in, and then they do a copy work. Now what I do is sometimes I don't put the punctuations correctly, or I don't capitalize what I should capitalize. And as my daughter reads it and writes it, she will actually catch, and then she will tell me, "Mommy, you did it wrong. I'm so good at grammar." So those are some of the ways that we're incorporating grammar and all of that, even though we're not focusing on that, because we're focusing only on the science. Now, with this rate, it's probably going to take me a while to get through Book Shark, because it's on a 36-week, or we might just do year-round, so we might catch up. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a lesson block on math and a lesson block on science, and then I wanted to move after 4 weeks to a lesson block on history, and then incorporate some part of language arts into that. So that is how we are thinking of taking our homeschool, and I want to share a lot of how we've kind of been doing everything, and so that if you can take any inspiration from that, then I would love to share with you guys about that, because that's what this channel is about, right? I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like these chatty videos, please let me know, and I will try to make monthly recap of our month for you guys. I would love for you guys to be part of our Precious Years family, so please click on the subscribe button if it's red so that you can follow our journey, my girls and my journey into homeschooling and motherhood. And now I guess working mom. I will talk to you guys on our next video. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.